Ellie had always been drawn to old houses. There was something about their creaking floors, their dusty corners, and their whispered secrets that made her feel alive. So when she inherited her great-aunt's Victorian home on the edge of a forgotten town, she didn't hesitate to move in. The house was a relic of another time, with its peeling wallpaper, ornate woodwork, and a grand staircase that seemed to groan under the weight of its own history. The first night was uneventful. Ellie unpacked her belongings, lit a few candles to combat the flickering electricity, and fell asleep in the musty master bedroom. But on the second night she heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper. It seemed to come from the walls themselves, a soft, rhythmic murmur that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. "Ellie, hello?" she called out, her voice trembling. The whispering stopped. She told herself it was just the wind or the settling of the old house, but deep down, she knew it wasn't. The next day, Ellie explored the house more thoroughly. In the attic, she found a dusty trunk filled with yellowed letters and photographs. One photo caught her eye, a young woman, strikingly beautiful, with piercing eyes that seemed to follow Ellie as she moved. The back of the photo read, "Margaret, 1897. That night, the whispers returned, louder this time. Ellie's hands trembled as she ran them along the floral-patterned wallpaper. Her fingers caught on a loose seam, and with a tug, a section of the wall peeled away. Behind it was a small, hidden compartment. Inside lay a tarnished locket and a bundle of letters tied with a faded ribbon. The moment she touched the locket, the whispers stopped. The room fell silent, but the air grew heavier, as if something unseen was watching her. Ellie opened the locket to find a tiny portrait of Margaret, the woman from the photograph. The letters were addressed to her, filled with declarations of love and promises of escape. The last letter was unfinished. The ink smudged as if tears had fallen on the page. As Ellie read, a cold breath brushed against her neck. She spun around, but the room was empty. The whispers returned, this time in her mind, clear and chilling. "He locked me here. My love betrayed me. I couldn't escape." Ellie's flashlight flickered and the room plunged into darkness. She stumbled backward, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, until they became a deafening scream. Shadows swirled around her, forming the shape of a woman. Margaret. Her eyes were hollow, her mouth twisted in a silent scream. She reached out, her fingers brushing Ellie's cheek, and the world went black. When Ellie woke, she was lying on the floor of the room, the locket clutched in her hand. The whispers were gone, but the air was still heavy with sorrow. She knew what she had to do. She buried the locket and letters in the garden under the light of the full moon, hoping to give Margaret the peace she had been denied. But as she turned to go back inside, she heard it again, a faint whisper, this time from the garden. "Thank you." But I'm not alone. Ellie froze. Behind her, the house loomed, its windows dark and lifeless. And in the upstairs window, she saw a figure, a man, his face twisted in rage, staring down at her. The whispers began again, but this time they weren't just Margaret's. They were his.